Hello and welcome to Sunrise Cardcast, your one-stop podcast shop for all things hockey cards. My name is Eric Andrews, also known in the hobby as Hammerhawks, and I'm joined by my co-host and fellow hobbyist Aaron Goldstein, better known as Crease Collector. And as you guys can see, also joining us is Matt Burrows, Associate Product Manager at Upper Deck. A lot of you probably know him as Tomcat Sports Cards on Instagram. Matt, I know you've been on the show before, but it's been a little while, so how's it going?
It's going really well, man. I appreciate you guys having me on here. This is exciting to do my first interview here at the company that was kind of a childhood dream to work for, honestly. And really excited to be able to see and talk to you guys. And we've got a great friendship that spans over many years on Instagram and at the National and all sorts of good things. So yeah, I'm very happy to be on here. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you. So, as we often do with our episodes, we'll start out with a little bit of mail really quick, just some fun stuff that's come in of late. I'll start with mine because Aaron actually has the biggest thing to show off here. So I'll start out with my mediocre stuff at first here. First one's actually a double. I already have a copy of this card, but it's still cool nonetheless. Is a 21-22 Young Gun high gloss numbered out of 10 of Josiah Slavin. So you guys are used to seeing Jacob Slavin, but I also
That's different.
His little brother, who played for the Hawks.
I like it. So. I like it. That's awesome. Yeah, Slavin's been getting a lot of attention lately. So you might have to switch to his cards for a bit because this guy, man, it's unreal. So hopefully the brother can have some sort of success too. But that's really cool either way.
Yeah, no, he's been in the AHL pretty much ever since that little cup of coffee, but still cool nonetheless. So just figured I'd start with that. And then the next one is a little bit cooler, in my opinion. I already have 2 copies of this card. This is the 3rd copy that I have. And what's notable about that is it's a card numbered out of 3. So I now have all 3 copies, that being a trilogy signature puck NHL shield of Nicholas Jalmerson.
Ooh, nice. That's awesome. I love those cards. They're really cool. And the fact that you're able to complete the little Quincy there is so nice. Nice job. I love the blue ink. I mean, some people might be kind of about it, but I like it. Pops.
It pops very
nicely.
Great. For sure. So, yeah, kind of interesting that they're both doubles, but they're very nice doubles to have. So, I'll keep my little bit short and sweet there. And Aaron, I will turn the floor over to you for your very, very notable PC pickup.
Yeah, I don't have the card with me, actually. It's in hand, but it's not on me at the moment. So you might need to pull up a scan if you don't have it all.
Find it real quick.
Yeah, if not, I can send it over to you quickly. But basically, it's a pretty awesome card. It's from 2017 Leaf in the Game Superlative, and it is the 1/1 Game Use Shield of Jonas Enroth, or should I say who? Or should I say Jones Enroth, because there actually is a spelling mistake on it, which is kind of funny. It's a small spelling mistake in the first name, but it is an Enroth card, so that's awesome. Not his brother or anything like that. It's a really cool card, and it's actually his first Game Use Shield at the time. Since then, there has been, another Game Use Shield released through President's Choice back in 2022. But this was the first before that. So, yeah, Eric just pulled it up on the screen there. So pretty cool. I know it's not much. Yeah, it's really cool. I know it's not much to look at, with Leaf and everything sometimes. And there's only so much they can do with the license. Yeah, Eric just mentioned the spelling mistake there. So instead of an E, it should be an A. Small spelling mistake, but it is what it is. The guy who actually, who I bought this from, just pulled this card actually. So he did reach out to Leaf and ask them if they could do anything about this. And because it's a little bit older of a product, they weren't able to do anything, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I don't mind it too much, to be honest. So yeah, really cool card. Not too much to look at, but hey, anytime you can get a Game Use Shield is awesome. And it comes from the 40th anniversary Buffalo Sabres jerseys that they wore from 2010 to 2012-ish. So I always love those jerseys personally, and just, to have a, such a key piece from that jersey is awesome. So, pretty cool pickup. And, it's awesome.
I think for me, like a player so specific, like I really love player collections like yourself, right? It's like Jonas Enroth there's a very specific reason why you like him, and to find any type of one-on-one of those type of players is super special and very tough, right? Because like McDavid, he's going to have a shield in a lot of things, right? And all these other great players, but I feel like that's like finding a needle in 10 haystacks, right? So that's amazing, dude.
Exactly. And actually, like I was unsure, this is why I don't really mind the spelling mistake too much, is I wasn't sure if this card even existed, because yes, I know it's a 1 of 1, but there was actually not a spelling mistake, but a numerical error on the checklist where Johan Franzen was actually in Enroth's place, and their abbreviation for the cards was kind of swapped on the checklist. So I wasn't sure if, I figured it was just a typo, and it was, but I wasn't sure if it was one of those situations where maybe it got kind of mixed around in the checklist, and depending on when it's built, maybe there was some memorabilia swap or something that happened. So I didn't see the card for a long time, and so I was unsure. And so if I ever did see the card, maybe there was a swap between the two. So luckily it does exist. The memorabilia is his. It is Enroth, so that's awesome. Fortunately, there was that spelling error, but just seeing the card and making sure that it exists, and was able to snag it was awesome. So I don't really mind that too much. And also, I think, Matt, this it's kind of funny that you're on here, but I will send Eric another card that he does not know about. So hopefully he can pull that up. So I kind of does, like he usually does this to me, where he doesn't tell me what he gets, or he does, and he won't share it with me yet. And so I'm gonna do a little switcheroo on him. So I will.
I know all about that.
Exactly.
I know all about that, dude. He did that to me at the National. If you remember, it's like, oh, hey, I got this like random flurry I want to show you. Yeah, that was good stuff, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to send this to him through email, so maybe he can, flip it up on the screen here. So
sure.
I think you might know the card. So Eric, I just responded to your email there for the StreamYard link, so you'll know what it is. But anyway, so this card, it's one that I've been searching for quite a long time, and yeah, you probably know what it is. So,
I know which one it is. I know it's finally arrived. No way.
Eric just saw it, so he knows.
Very nice.
So
long time coming.
It definitely is. So I guess I'll just wait a moment for him to pull that up whenever you can.
That's the one that we used to talk about. I feel like Eric, you and I talked about Aaron looking for this card for years.
No, it is the card. Yes. Yeah, so Eric just pulled it up. So that is the 14-15 MVP gold script out of 100. And to some it's not a big card, but it is the highest numbered card on the want list. But for me, it was number one, just because a card out of 100, you should be able to track that down, but for whatever reason, I was never able to. For those who don't know, I don't know if MVP still follows this formula. Maybe Matt can tell me a little bit more on this, but I'm not sure if you handle MVP or not, or knows who kind of handles that. But I don't know if it's still a retail only parallel, but for the longest time it was, and so that is the case for this card in 14-15. So that's probably why I haven't been able to track it down, is because it was a retail only parallel. And so for the people who open retail, it could be from a kid to your more experienced hobbyist, right? So you don't really know where these cards are going to fall, and especially for players like Enroth, where if you were to pull this card, you don't really necessarily think to list it up for sale, especially if it's years later. So the guy who I got this from was trying to complete a set, and he was letting a few of them go, and so I bought 10 other gold scripts along with this one to get it, but it was worth every penny. So yeah, that's what I've been looking for over 10 years now. I came out of, I think, August 2014, so it's been a long time.
Wow.
But was finally able to snag this one. It came in the same day as the Shield, so
it's a good mail day.
It definitely was. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Not often I share big cards on here, because my want list is pretty short, but when I do, it's a pretty cool thing. So yeah, finally I crossed that off, the MVP gold script. So thank goodness.
Man. That is awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. And it was kind of nice to pull the old, switcheroo on Eric there. So just for one time.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
I've got a few comments that we'll get to. Shout out to Matt. I will not be at the expo. Aaron will be, I believe. So you guys can meet up there. But thanks for tuning in. Josh, of course, tuning in as well, and making note that those are very tough to track down indeed. No doubt about that. And then Nick also tuning in. So thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it. So that's our mail, but there's a little bit of bonus mail. Matt, do you want to share about the mail that you recently got?
Yeah, I sent you a message on Instagram. I sent just a couple pictures. One you might want to save, right? Because I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I've really enjoyed Premiere, the most recent release we had come out, 23-24. I think that when the base card design is really nice, it plays so well with all the mem parallels and whatnot that come with each of those players. So obviously Fleury being in green in those all green dark pads, like just a beautiful setup, great picture of him. So I've had a lot of fun tracking down the variety of memorabilia parallels in there. So the picture I sent you, if I'm correct, is the fight strap, which was a great trade that I was able to work out. And it's been really cool, you collect somebody as long as you do, like Enroth or Fleury, you got people reach out or tag you in Facebook posts and whatnot. And so, I kind of thought working here would boost like wanting to collect more, but it's done the opposite. It's made me be very specific for certain Fleury cards. And I've been able to let a lot more go just because we get to see and talk about all these different cards all the time. And so you can really narrow down which ones are super special. And so the fight strap that came in. And then recently I was able to get the neckline. Those are out of 3. So I have the last 3 that he has from the Chicago one to the 2 Minnesota ones. And then I was able to get a patch, which is a pad. It says patch, but it was supposed to say premium. So, it's all good. I've already said something about that. I'm a little bit of a stickler with that stuff, but all that's left is the ties, and which I think are some of the coolest new memorabilia pieces that we put in Premiere. We've only done it for a couple of years. We've got the neck ties in there.
I love those cards. Mm-hmm. I love those cards.
They look great, man.
They're so cool.
Really good.
Some people don't like them. It's either you like them or hate them. So, look at that card there.
There we go.
That's awesome. I love the purple there. I think it works really well with the green, and of course the piece of memorabilia there. The the neck area there is really, really cool.
Right, awesome. Especially seeing his jersey size. So my jerseys are 60, and so it explains why they're so much baggier. I thought they were all 60.
No, I think you can go down to depending on your height as a goalie, I think you can go down to 56G. I think that's the smallest you can get. I think the biggest at the NHL level, I want to say it's 60, but maybe depending on your height.
There's like 60 plus I've seen.
Yeah, I think there's like a bigger, 62, but that might have been for beer league guys. But for NHL, I want to say it's 60. But anyway, that's really cool. Majority of goalies do use 58G. But that's really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I was actually, speaking of goalie jerseys, I was able to buy, I found a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey, like the one they wore during the Cup in 09. And so I got that to wear, and then I'll wear it with the mask that's coming, which I will reveal in a later date.
Oh, so that's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, so that, if you see on the right side there, it says patch. It's actually supposed to say premium. That's a pad piece inside of one of those Penguins pads, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
But it still looks really good. And again, I think when the base design on Premiere is that sharp, it just makes all the different parallels, or at least the mem, worth it, right? So I haven't posted the fight strap yet, but it's fun to track those.
I love the fight strap, especially with goalie cards. You don't really see it too often. Right. I mean, now you see it more, but it's always really cool when you see it with a goalie card. I don't know. It's just, part of their jersey you don't really see too often. So it's always nice. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see that once it's up. Yeah, exactly, Nick. Like all the colors work well together. So it's awesome. Yeah, the design's great. I love Premiere. So that's an awesome pickup.
Yeah, Premiere is definitely a singles product for many of us, right? So I think when you have your player in it or multiple players, you can be very specific with what you want to chase down outside of, the various base parallels and autos and things like that. But for me, I've just really enjoyed unique memorabilia or really unique designs. I think that's seeing what people are cooking up here. It makes you appreciate some of those lesser appreciated cards by the masses, but for me, I definitely have my certain cards that I'm growing to like even more here. So that's been pretty cool.
Very nice. And speaking of which, I know there's a card you got recently from yours truly that you were hoping to find, because the one and only Gene had a big part in that card.
Yes. Yeah. So it was awesome. I had just gotten home from the gym, came into work early, left early, went to the gym. And as I got home, I logged on and I see you guys ripping open a box of EX, which, EX 2000 is such a special set for me growing up as a baseball collector and a hockey collector, just Fleer in general. But baseball, the first Essential Credentials came out of that, right? And so it holds a really special place in my heart, especially my original podcast name was called Essential Credentials. And so to be working with Gene and know that set's coming out after I got here, I mean, we were all very excited. And I know Billy and that everybody worked so hard to just get those as similar as they could to the original base. And it was not easy for sure for them at all. But that card that you guys pulled, the All or Nothing, I think has such a special meaning in general because those inserts originally were really special. But to pull Marc-Andre Fleury by you guys and have it be the gold parallel, it's great. It was such a special card. I'm like, I have to reach out to Eric. He's probably going to say no, but I think one of the coolest things that, with this relationship that we've had in this friendship is like Eric knew and you knew how special this card would be to me, and I knew that I could find something that would be equally as special to him, right? And so you already have that kind of rapport established ahead of time, so it was very easy to figure out a trade. I think I thought about it for one night, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, he's going to love the card that I have way more, and I'm going to love that way more. So, yeah, overall, it was a great experience, and just awesome that you guys pulled that. Like, I still can't believe it,
I mean,
very ironic.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Stature was first released, we pulled a nice red parallel of Fleury, and I think we both kind of called it. We're like, okay, we're probably going to pull some Fleury here, so we didn't call this one, but it's almost like we did, because it really is the perfect card. And although Eric didn't end up with it, it's still a cool card that that he pulled, and obviously as fans of Fleury, it's quite special. So what are the odds, right? So and the gold parallel just looks amazing. So and with Fleury, and he's ending his career, it's the last year of his cards, it's his playing year card. So the fact that it's a card from this year is just, I don't know, just makes it a little bit extra cool.
For
I'm sure but it's awesome.
Yeah, it was great to see the way that his career ended. I mean, it was bad against the Sharks, and then his wife did that interview and was talking about how hard that game was and all this, and then he gets in there for overtime and makes a couple of very Flower-esque saves.
Just rolling around.
Makes the post while the puck is in his zone.
He didn't care if they scored, which was amazing.
And then they go and won the game. It was like, I got done with stick time really late that night. When I got home, I just was like in awe watching it over and over again. And,
Same.
Yeah, it was pretty special. But yeah, I mean, thanks again, Eric, obviously, for the trade. I know that we're both very happy. I'm excited to hear what you have to say about the card I sent you. But it was just the fact that you guys pulled it from a box that we sent you and we were able to work out a trade. I mean, it definitely makes the card extra special. And every time I look at it in the display case when I go in my office, I'm just like, man, that card is so nice. It is very special.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those cards where, I mean, it looks great in the picture you got, but it really is one of those cards where you just have to have one in hand to fully appreciate the foil and how much it shimmers and all that. So
for sure. Yeah, that was design was, I know it didn't turn out exactly how everybody wanted it to here. If you've seen the originals from 97, 98, they're much thicker and they've got these crazy die cuts. But I think all things considered, with the parallels and even the base, I mean, they both look very, very nice. And I'm very happy that he made it into that set for sure.
As he should have. Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, that's your end of the trade. The card that I got, in fitting fashion, Aaron doesn't know what it is, so this will be fun.
Nice.
But one parallel that I have appreciated over the years, and I think a lot of people do, just kind of specifically not really knowing for sure what the print run is, but I think everyone has a general idea of what that is. But they're just, because of that and just the overall concept of the card, is a card that I've always really enjoyed. So then when Fleury went to the Blackhawks and got one of these cards, I said, yeah, like that would be a really cool card to have for the collection one day.
Okay.
So then we were talking trade, and I asked about it, and as you said, the deal was done. So my end of the trade is a 2021-22 Upper Deck Clear Cut exclusives of Marc-Andre
Ooh, that's
Fleury.
nice. I was thinking my guess was going to be like an OPG blank back,
Mm.
which I know you have, I believe. You have a couple, Matt?
Yeah, those don't go anywhere. Those I get one if
Okay,
I'm lucky, and
okay.
those are locked up, man.
Because this was like, the Series 1, Series 2 kind of version of that where they were released and people were like, okay, like, they either miss it or they're like, okay, like, I don't know how much of these exist. Like, it very much reminded me of, when the blank backs first came on the scene in, 2008, people reacted the same way. They either didn't really know for a long time. And then when they started surfacing, people were like, hey, like, what are these? Like, it was very similar. And so that's when you kind of know, like, this is not something you're going to see every day. And clearly you don't. And that is awesome that you guys were able to work out a trade for that card. It doesn't look like much, especially now because there is a lot of acetate out there. But for those who know. And that is just, like, what a card.
They're very tough cards. That is
Very.
for sure. So
I would say like 5 maybe. I mean, Matt, you don't have to say
a little bit higher, but yeah, under 10.
Something like that. So that's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, knowing that he would have a Blackhawks one, it was kind of one of those cards that I was always like, well, maybe one day I'll be able to track one down. So yeah, we've both said this, Matt, that honestly it was just kind of like the perfect type of trade where everyone's happy. We both get a card we love, and can't get any better than that. So
it was perfect too, because as I was deliberating on it, my favorite part was Eric being like, do you want $10 on top of the trade? And he thought it was funny. I was like, that was a good one. But I have my display cases, as you guys have seen behind me, and my high gloss of that card is in there. Like, that was an easy choice. I love the photo, the mask, everything about that card is perfect. And I thought, well, the clear cut exclusives is in my top loader binder. When's the last time I've like pulled it out and looked at it and been like, wow, this thing's
that's the thing, right?
Yeah. So for me, I was like, he is going to appreciate it on the level that I appreciate the high gloss and the gold, card from EX. I'm like, this is an easy one. So as soon as I got my mind around that, it was an easy done deal. And again, when a trade goes that well, you're just like, man, I wish they all would go like that, because there's usually a lot of deliberating, like you're off by like 10%, 20%. It's like, come on, does it really? Because if we were to do the value, maybe his is worth more or mine's worth more, but really, is that important? No.
Yeah, especially when it's going, each to like a Fleury collector. It really doesn't, it's a wash either way. So I totally agree. So I'm glad you guys were able to work out a good trade and you guys got something you liked. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah. So thanks again. Glad it worked out. I know we're both happy. So that will wrap up the mail. But, like I said at the top, you have joined us on the show before, but not since you started working at Upper Deck. So we kind of just wanted to give you an opportunity to give people an update about what you're doing and kind of what your role at Upper Deck entails, and just give you the floor and talk about what you're doing.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's still surreal, honestly, if you think about it, right? Because we all got to know each other over Instagram, and then you got to meet each other. Well, at least me and Eric got to hang out a lot at the National a couple of years ago, which was awesome, right? Meet up with different people from Instagram, and that whole community is really special to me. That's what got me really into hockey when I got into it and was collecting Tebow, as you remember, Aaron, and then like slowly made my way into Fleury. And then I said, nope, I'm going all in on Fleury, and basically sold everything else that I owned. And to think that, I was doing a podcast. I had you guys on. I joined you guys, and then Billy joined me, which he forgot in my interview, by the way. Nobody knows that. He was in my interview, and he's like, how come you haven't invited me on? I'm like, actually, I did have you on.
That's funny. I mean,
so we broke the ice, like he was a tough customer in that interview. And so you can tell him I said that at the expo. He'll appreciate that.
That's great. But, I mean, he's so popular. He's everywhere. So, it makes sense that he would, forget a show or two. But, I can't believe he forgot yours, but you can bug him about that.
I do all the time. I almost once a month or so, I'll talk about going on a podcast. Like, it's too bad you haven't been on mine at any point in time. It's just
did you forget about me again or what?
Yeah, no, he's been wonderful. I mean, you got to give him a shout out too, right? Because he was the one that really believed that I could come here and do what I'm doing. And he motivated me to just go for this position here, to work alongside him and that amazing team. And build products from the ground up. I mean, I thought I would be coming here to do like checklists and things of that nature. He's like, no, you can come here and you know cards well. So it's been really a blessing, and it's very, very challenging to learn everything. And I still have a lot to learn, but I've been thankful to be working with people who are great teachers. You know, I've joked with Tony many times. I don't know if you've had him on yet, but, you know, Tony is one of the best teachers. Like, you would have made a good teacher if you would have gone into education. Like, he's very patient. He's very step-by-step, encouraging. And so, yeah, I've been here now about 7 months, and just like Billy, not at that level, not for a while. It'll be a while before I get to his level, but I build certain sets from the ground up. Some I can talk about, some I cannot. But yeah, I get to do the exact same thing and be creative and come up with different names and themes. And it's been really, really fun. And it's, again, surreal to think that I get to come to work and I'm talking about sports and talking about cards and making decisions and seeing designs. And it's just, yeah, I have to pinch myself quite often. I mean, there's always going to be tough days, right? But I'm reminded quite often about where everything started, right? And I was just a guy collecting hockey cards like you guys, and just was very fortunate to end up in this position. And I don't think that's something I'm going to forget. So, yeah, it's been good overall. Like, again, very, very challenging. And there's way more going on here than anybody realizes until you get here, right? And I think Billy's talked about that many times. It makes you appreciate the products, and just getting one card in front of you, like what it took to put this card in front of all of us is way, way beyond what I would have thought prior to getting here. So it's pretty amazing to see all the hard work that goes into every single set that we do, from MVP to the cup to everything in between, right? So, yeah, it's going really well.
That's awesome. Glad to hear. And I know, one thing that we've talked about, and I definitely want to hear from you about, since it's kind of become your baby now, is all of the PWHL content. And,
right.
Obviously there's the standalone product, and there's, some cards in the Tim Hortons release that we'll get to in a little bit. But, that's something that Aaron and I have really enjoyed seeing, is just seeing the PWHL represented, not even just having cards to a small degree, but I mean, having their own product was awesome. And it was a very well done product that was very well received. So, with the PWHL kind of being, your thing that you're focusing on pretty heavily, what can you share about that and what that looks like?
Well, I do want to give credit to where it's due. So Matthew Bleiberg built the first and the second set, the one that's coming out later this year. So I got to give him a big shout out. He got that thing off the ground, and this company did not know. I guess I can say we now. I feel a little weird saying that still, but we didn't know how popular that was going to be, right? Like where we could go with it. It was, if you notice, the first set was very bare bones compared to what a flagship product would look like for the NHL, right? Very different. And so to see how well received it is now, I do got to give myself a little shout out here. When I first got here, I walked into my boss's office, Grant, who is just a brilliant, amazing person here. I said, look, I don't know how popular you think this is going to be, but I think this league is going to go crazy. Like, it's going to blow up, not only in its popularity, but the cards itself. And he's like, I don't know, Matt. I'm like, trust me, man. I feel it, So to see how popular that first set's been, and then to see, how excited and how fast all the pre-orders sold out for the second set. I mean, to be given the responsibility to make the third set and all the other things that we're hoping to do with that is very special. And actually, when I came to my interview, Grant previously on an interview said that when he came here, he built the whole Goodwin's Champs. Like, he built the set, built the checklist, made all this stuff. And so I took that and said, well, I'll do the same thing. So I kind of built my own mock-up PWHL set, not knowing we were already doing it, right? So I had the whole checklist, I had pictures, I did the whole 9 yards. I'm like, here you go, guys. Like, I'm ready for this. So that it worked well, obviously. And so they gave me 25-26, which I'm trying to think of what I can share about it. One thing I can say about PWHL is that if you look at the first set, very bare bones, right? We got the basics in there, and that's great. Players get their first cards. The second year, it's already been solicited, promoted, all this good stuff. So there's going to be true young guns in there, right? Players in their first year, like Fillier and all the other great rookies. That'll continue, obviously, going forward. And the set that I was asked to build, we added a little bit more. So I'll just leave it at that. Every year we want to just do a little bit more with it and make it more and more special. And while it's a hockey product and you want some similarities between the NHL and the PWHL, I always wanted to stand out in some way, right? It's going to be a little bit different, maybe not with the designs. The designs like base set and stuff will be the same, but there'll be certain elements that make it unique. And I think that's really important, right? You want it to stand out in some way. And for me, I just love it. Like, I don't know if you notice, Marie-Philippe Poulin posted a picture of her with one of her cards from Tim Hortons. I'm like, this is the coolest thing. We got the best player in the league, like, Ovechkin, Crosby type, posting with her card. Like, you can see how special it is to them, right? And that's making me take it very seriously and want to do the best job that I can to help our team build a really fun, special product each year. So yeah, really, really excited to be given that responsibility. It's very, very cool.
That's really, really cool to hear. I mean, just to hear that background on your, your Upper Deck journey, but also hearing that, you'll be taking, the PWHL, forward, from here on out is really cool. I don't know if you can say this, and if you can't, don't worry about it.
Good practice.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And if you can't, I know, you're still new, and I really don't want to get you in trouble or anything like that.
I'm ready.
But do you think we'll see, any, game-worn memorabilia sets in any future PWHL release?
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's always the goal, to try to further any product when there's not something in it, right? I think I'm asking the same questions that I see on PWHL cards, on Reddit, on different collectors. I know there's some great collectors on Instagram that really promote and post the cards from our releases so far. I mean, I'm asking all the same questions, right? And so I think the league is still new. We're still working very hard with them and getting those approvals for all these different things.
Fair.
I think what I can say is that I'm hoping for the same things that you are, and that's where it's at right now. I mean, obviously autographs, right? We released something with the showcase set as an achievement where you can get that autograph, which is our first PWHL autograph we ever done. So, I mean, we're working our way to those, and I think, yeah, sky's the limit as long as we can work with the league on that stuff. But, just time will tell, right?
Yeah, No, that's fair. I just wanted to ask, just because, very similarly to, when the NHL started to get more into game used cards, I think, the fans and just the league itself would just benefit from, that new batch of collectors getting their first taste of game worn, memorabilia cards, which, might be played out in other leagues. But I think it's just a whole new set of collectors that will be like, whoa, like jersey cards of these players. That's amazing. Similarly how we, were first introduced to memorabilia cards back in the day. I think it will have a very similar impact, especially with, how the PWHL is growing and, people love it. And I think exposing those type of, fans and what will be collectors to that, those types of cards and those types of sets would be amazing. I think it would have like just that jolts that we all got,
For sure.
And anyway, I'll leave it at that, because I know it's, there's only so much you can say, but
there's one thing I do want to add too, real quick, is like right now, as far as I know, they only have like 1 or 2 away and home jerseys, right? They're not given like the NHL.
Exactly.
It's like Obi goes out, he skates for
That's part of the
thing. Takes the jersey off, throws it off, and gets using the card. So I think right now too, people, probably don't think about this, but they don't have nearly the resources, right? So we just need to wait for the league to grow. And on that note, there was a Reddit post that I read today where they haven't officially announced the expansion, but they think something was leaked. And so it's exciting to know that there's a potential for growth, right? I mean, I think you want that league to get to 8, 10, 12 teams at some point, because there's so many, talented women out there that play the sport. And so I'm hoping, that we hear about that soon, because that's exciting for us, especially those of us here that are working on PWHL. So yeah, that's good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super fun to hear, and it'll be really interesting and fun to see how, kind of the cards for that league develop as time goes on, and as things continue to progress. So that'll be cool.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Switching gears a little bit to Tim Horton's retrospective rookies, which we were kind of alluding to earlier. Obviously, that's the newest Tim Hortons release that just came out. I know Aaron picked up 15 packs to bust open, so I'll turn the floor over to both of you guys. Aaron, you can rip, and then Matt, you can talk about what we're seeing.
Cool.
Great.
Sounds good.
I do want to mention this too before you start ripping into those. So Matt Bleiberg, he's the one that built this set, and a lot of people worked on it. I also talked to the coordinator, the content person, Jacob, who built the whole checklist, and both of them, they definitely had to work hard to get it to look the way that it does, and then a design team took it from there. So I will do my best. I went and talked to both of them before I came in here to give some insight on a lot of these cards, but yeah, hopefully I can answer all of the questions that you have.
Cool. No, I mean, that's all right. Well, I guess we'll start ripping here. And if you noticed, I'm drinking from my Tim Hortons mug. So I think maybe we'll pull, a redemption or something. Or
I just hope there's a flurry in here because you guys definitely have the luck of getting him in most of your.
I hope so. I mean, the base cards look amazing. So I really hope to pull his card. So we'll see what happens, but having a little trouble with the first pack, but that's all right.
The one thing I'll mention right off the bat that Matt mentioned was he was really happy with, if you look at the base cards there, how some of the cards, especially the photos, are very similar, like in the way that they're positioned, the pose that they're in. And to be able to see a player from the beginning of their career to now, it's really, really cool, especially with some of the players that have been around for quite a while, right? So like the Panarin is one that Matt is particularly proud of. That card looked really, really nice because the photos are almost identical, but they're like 10 years apart or more?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So first hit, we got Kyle Connor in the books. So I love the shine there. It's kind of hard to see, but, you can kind of see a little bit of it there. I'm not going to mention the base unless I hit someone, really worthwhile for me, but they do look great. And if you want to check out the checklist, I definitely recommend you do so. So that was pack 1. So yeah, just it's always cool when you get like a fun Tim Hortons release here, especially for the Canadian collectors there. It's I know some locations do have it, but for the most part, the States are kind of out of luck when it comes to releases like this. So it's always nice when you guys can get some too. So I think Eric had some packs maybe shipped up to him, or maybe it was just the cards last time, or a couple years ago, but I could be wrong.
Gotcha.
Must have been another Eric.
Must have been another guy. So that's okay. I mean, that's all right. But I'm sure maybe it's because he always mentions to me how he would really want some. So got a Heliquid base. That's awesome. And we got a Kevin Fiala. Oh, that's really cool. Initial strides. That's awesome. Really cool card there. It's really cool.
And it's really, really tricky sometimes because all these Tim Horton cards have to be this exact same thickness, right? So you can't hide something really nice in any of these packs because the searchers will find them. So you have to, do a lot with a little sometimes. And I think they did an absolutely fabulous job with all these cards.
That's really, really cool.
If you get a lenticular out of there, I think those look amazing. The depth lenticulars.
That's awesome. And of course, the Leafs do play tonight, so I'm wearing my Leafs hat. So, we'll see what happens.
I picked them to win in my bracket. I picked them to win.
Well, I didn't do any brackets, but I definitely would subscribe to that. So, these are really cool. They're kind of canvassy, which is awesome. This is a celebrated prodigies of Connor Bedard. So that is a really cool card. I didn't know these were kind of canvassy, so that is really, really awesome. This is nice. I don't have a Bedard yet, so this is the first for me. So really, really cool.
Sick,
that is
Very
awesome.
nice.
Yeah, it's him playing for the All-Star game there. So that is awesome. Definitely my favorite hit so far. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I have a Poulin at my desk, and I love it because she's in her All-Star jersey, the pink and the white, or the purple and the white. And canvas cards, I don't care how easy they are to get. I'll never get tired of them, and the photography is wonderful. They just feel like a special card, no matter how cheap they may be on the secondary market. Yeah, I've always wanted to do the goalie set every year, but I'm so far behind now. It would take forever.
Yeah, it would be kind of a good legacy project, especially after all these years, it would be awesome to do. I wouldn't mind looking at a couple of those cards. Here we have next up, Take a Bow, Martin St. Louis. That is really nice. That's really cool.
I will mention for those. So Jake mentioned specifically he loves that Take a Bow set because he had to go and find when each of those players was named first, second, or third star for the first time and make sure I had a photo of it. So he did a
That's
lot of
interesting.
deep diving research to just make that checklist. I mean, again, those types of things I think are taken for granted by collectors like us if we don't work here. But then you see how much work goes into putting that insert set checklist together. So yeah, big shout out to Jake. He actually works with me on the PWHL checklist too. So we talk frequently about all those different things and which players to put in and which players to maybe look at for young guns. It's pretty cool.
Very cool. I got a Matthews base card here, so hopefully that's some good luck for tonight. And this is definitely going in the PC. We got Initial Strides, UC Soros. So big fan of this guy, so that's awesome.
He's not wearing the yellow pads in that picture. That must be his
not.
year.
Well, yeah, he didn't wear it at the start. He had his nice white and navy E-flexes there, so pretty cool. Right. So speaking of pads, like what kind of pads are you wearing now? I know you had some yellow ones actually yourself.
Yeah, it's funny enough. My True pads, the brand new ones, I can't stand them. They don't. I don't know. I got some issues with pad rotation either because I stink still, or because they just don't strap on right. But I bought a pair of Reeboks from 2014 that Fleury wore, not Fleury pads, but the same style he wore.
Yeah, the XLTs.
Yeah. I love those. I wore those last night. Those feel like pillows on my legs compared.
That's awesome. Maybe. Was it like a used set by chance?
They're used, but they have no puck marks on them. Like the glove, obviously the trapper and the blocker have some puck marks, but the pads don't have hardly any marks. So
that's really, really cool. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if it's like maybe like a softer build or something, and you're finding it a little bit easier. But anyway, so we did get Poulin right there, base card.
Nice. Awesome. I have that one on my desk too. That's definitely my favorite card. Her and the Debian. Those are the two nice ones there.
So we got Initial Strides, another one, Mikko Rantanen. So that's really cool. So
big win for his team last night.
Amazing. I can't wait for Landeskog to make that return. He was activated from the IR recently. So I think, did he take warm-ups and just not play? But, something like that. I saw a quick video somewhere. But amazing. So his comeback has been just a miracle. And
I assume he'll definitely play like 5 minutes in the next game just to hype the crowd up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the team and the crowd could use that boost. Just amazing story there. Another Initial Stride. This is a great card of Connor Bedard. I know it's a promotional set, but anytime you can get Bedard cards is awesome there. So very, very cool. That's awesome. Eric, I'm not sure if you're jealous or not. Again, I know they're cheaper cards.
I am. I approve of any Connor Bedard card.
Yes.
I thought you liked Brock Faber more, Eric. I can't remember, but I'm trying to remember which one's which.
He's so amazing. He's so good. Totally should have won.
He had a great game. He played more than anybody, so there's that. Oh, geez.
That's awesome. All right, so we got Celebrated Prodigies of Quinn Hughes. That's awesome.
Nice.
So again, love the canvas. I love the jerseys there, the black and white that they use. Really, really cool. So that's awesome. We also got a base of Dominic Hasek as well, kind of tucked in there as well. Wow. So that's awesome. Just
Senators Dominic Hasek. Wow. Nice.
That's true. Yeah, like maybe it's bad luck for tonight for me, but I mean, I remember him when he was part of those Sens teams there. So really, really cool. It's always nice to have that mix of players. So I'm not sure if you can speak on that a little bit at all, but it's just so cool. I mean, especially in this release, you have different leagues intertwining, different eras. It's so cool, and I'm sure people have a blast. Especially, I can only imagine if you're like a kid opening this stuff up, being like, "Whoa, it's amazing."
Yeah, I think it's, collectors often, especially since I've been working here, the feedback is always like, we want more legends. And I know Billy has spoken to this many times, but trying to find that balance is tricky, right? Because you put too many legends and now people want less. And you put too little and now they want more, and less rookies, more legends. So I think we're being very intentional with where they get in. And this is a perfect product, right? I mean, like it's going to be widely collectible. There's lots of it out there. Like you said, kids get to learn about all these different legends. And I know, like, I saw a Lemieux card in there that looks so nice.
Yep.
So I think this is a perfect place for these cards to exist. And you can kind of sprinkle them in, right? And that way you're not using Patrick Waugh and Martin Brodeur and soon Marc-Andre Fleury and everything. You're kind of being able to spread the wealth a bit. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, totally agree. And collectors are funny. We're a passionate bunch, but I'm sure you can't please everyone. We got in the books of Trevor Zegras, so that's awesome.
I'm looking forward to him having a better year next year. We all were talking about coaching change, and he had zero confidence out there most of the year. And fun little fact, if you watch when the Wild beat them and Fleury was skating to his team to celebrate, a couple pieces of stick were just floating by him there. That was his stick. He broke it and threw it at him. I'm like, dude, we gotta get things fixed for you, because we all like him here, obviously, right? The local team. So yeah, I'm expecting big things from him next year. Big bounce back.
All right. Very cool. So we got another take a bow. This one is Nick Suzuki. So that's awesome.
Go Canadians, man. We want them to do well. We want them to do very well.
Yeah. So that'll be a really great series. I know Ovechkin kind of, ended game one in style, with a little bit dramatics there. So good for him, I guess. But yeah, that'll be a great series. So
that guy just keeps cooking, man. He's going to be like Yager. He's just going to keep going. He's scoring 30, 40 goals every year. It's unbelievable what he's done.
I think so. Very cool. Okay. So we got another Hughes here. So initial strides of Luke Hughes. That's awesome.
There you go. Nice.
Very cool. Really like these cards. Yeah, it's amazing how much, technology is put into like a little promotional set here. It's just, even the base cards are just so nice. Can't really see it here on camera, but just a job well done there. So that is really
cool. There's some, like the photo selection. Again, our photo team did a really nice job with these. I mean, I know the PWHL ones are kind of tricky because we had to use their media day photos, but like the intricacy of the foil on here is just so nice for Tim Horton's card, right? Like that's
exactly
something that you're used to seeing just rainbow foil cards all the time, but those base cards are really nice. We all love them here for sure.
Very cool. All right, we got another in the books, Blake Coleman. Very cool. Love that celebration there. He's excited, man.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of trying to get photos like that. Obviously, that's not my job to pick those, but our job is to maybe theme inserts. And when I can get something where there's players showing emotion or goalies celebrating with their team like that, that's something that I know as a collector that we all love. And I think coming at it from that side of things has been great, because I can kind of put my own little personal touch on there. From what I would honestly, my big overarching goal is to build things that I would want to collect, right? So I think that helps me a lot and helps guide me to some really fun ideas. Even though Billy sometimes gives me a hard time and tries to change my ideas from time to time, which he's good at finding what works. But we have good discussions about that for sure.
That's great to hear. Yeah, it's always really important. All right, we got celebrated prodigies, Rick Nash.
Oh, wow. There's a guy people forget about.
I know. Like I saw this card recently, actually. Someone posted it, and I thought, oh man, they have Rick Nash in this set. That's awesome. So that was kind of the one that was like, oh man, this set has more people than I think. So I'm glad I hit that card. That's really, really cool.
All right, let's see a Fleury, man. Let's go.
I know, right? I know.
I do have one over at the desk, and I love it. You'll love the picture of him as a rookie. It's a good one.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen it before.
Okay, good.
Not yet, but that's okay. All right, Mitch Marner base. That's good for tonight. We also got Sidney Crosby in this pack too. Very cool.
There we go.
I know, Sid the Kid, and we got initial strides here of Carter Verhaeghe. That's nice. Okay. Now we're down to our final pack, so hopefully we get a Fleury base. That would be amazing. Or I know Patrick was in here too, so hopefully another legend or something like that, good goalie or something. That would be nice. Or like a redemption for an autograph card or something.
Yeah, no big deal. Whatever.
Even like the coffee or tea redemptions, the odds are crazy for something like this. It's hilarious. I love reading about the odds. So, all right, we've got a legend in the back. You got Joe Sakic, so that's all right. We got Barkov base, Joe Sakic there as well. And for our final hit, we have starting success here Anze Kopitar.
Oh, you got a lenticular. Let's go.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
So that's
Those
awesome.
are
I'm not
great.
sure about the odds on these, but it's a great card. Very cool.
Yeah, they're not very easy. Somebody actually close to me has a PWHL, one of those, Alex Carpenter. Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
it's so nice.
Just gonna see if I can find the odds here, but yeah, not really
I
sure.
think they're 1 in 24, if I remember.
Something like that. Yeah. So I mean,
Very
yeah,
nice.
broke the odds on that anyway. So that's cool. So yeah, these cards are fantastic. I love the the purple there. Obviously going back to his rookie year. So that is awesome. What a great
It's
card.
great. Good stuff, man.
Perfect. Yeah. That's
Glad
awesome.
you got one of those.
Yeah, same. So that's awesome. That's really, really cool. So that's Tim Horton's retrospective rookies. So I mean, we're not getting paid to do this, but I would definitely recommend picking up some of these cards. I mean, they're almost free. They're really cheap, and they're a blast. So yeah, 3 cards per pack, just amazing. You can get Joe Sakic, or you can also get Crosby and everyone in between. So
Right.
and of course the PWHL content. So I love that little rip there. That was so fun.
Yeah, good stuff, man. I love the variety in there. I think that's the biggest thing that I noticed looking at it and being able to see completed sets and watch people open it up and their reactions is it was very positive all around. And that's not always the case, right? There's usually something you can find with every product that you wish was a little bit better. But in terms of this product and as a Tim Hortons release, I think it's as good as we've ever done. And especially getting the legends in there and the PWHL players in there. It's only their second cards that are physical, other than the EPAC ones, which will hopefully be coming out soon. But yeah, no, I'm really excited, and I'm glad that people are loving that set. And it's affordable to collect. Like there's always an element of that you want to see there, that any age, any level of collector can enjoy them, but also affordably collect them. So yeah, we're all really, really happy with that. And I know that Matt is super proud of how that turned out for sure. So yeah, good stuff.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all we had, on the agenda for you. Is there anything else that you want to share, whether it be about retrospective rookies or PWHL or anything else that you're doing that you want to share before we let you go?
I'm sure Billy says this a lot. There's so much that he wants to talk about that he knows is coming up that he can't talk about.
Okay.
I'll leave you with this tidbit here without because this is good practice for me. Like the first set that I worked on for PWHL, I really tried to add a lot of content that's exciting that I would love to collect even if I wasn't working here. That's pretty unique, and I'm really excited to see what our design team does with that. I mean, I definitely did not just go super easy on my first product. Again, I got to bring a whole set here for my interview, and I tried to utilize some of those within this set that I'm responsible for. So there's going to be stuff in there that has not been seen before, I can say, in some ways in any product. So that for me is what I'm most excited about. I've talked to a couple of female hockey collectors on Instagram. There's a couple of people on there that are so passionate about it. And I've talked to one just about like bouncing ideas off of and just to see what he would think. And there's a couple of that are coming out that are going to be very well received. I'm super confident in that. So, but obviously the next one that's coming out here in a few months is our second release, the 24-25 set. So I'm excited to see how it does on the heels of the very first release. I think people are ready for it. I know people were frustrated because we didn't make a lot of 2024 first edition. It is still coming out on EPAC sometime in the future, so don't forget about that. But this next one's going to do very well as well. So I think as we're building, it's just going to get better and better. And hopefully I get to a point where I have a lot to try to, get past because people's expectations are so high. So really excited to see how it's received and for it to come out for sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for this.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us and taking the time. We appreciate it. We know it's pretty much the end of the workday for you out there in California. So we'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks, fellas. It was great seeing you both again, and obviously, happy to be on here for the first time. Excited to hopefully in the near or somewhat distant future come on and watch you guys open up a box of the first product that I built. That will be a very special and exciting day for me. So I can't wait for that.
That would be special. Perfect. All right,
We
Matt,
look forward to
again.
that.
We do. Perfect. All right. Have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, you guys too. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
That was
Well, that was
fantastic.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really cool seeing his passion behind. I mean, we knew he was passionate. We've known him for a long time, but just to see him equally as passionate about his role and what he brings to the table, and of course the things that are upcoming and he couldn't really talk about. I just know that they're going to be some really stellar products and some really fresh ideas. So that's I can't wait for that, especially more PWHL stuff and the like. It's just going to be really interesting. He has my mind turning about what that stuff could be. So I guess we're gonna all have to be patient and see. But no doubt it'll be a hit with the collectors out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, turning gears a little bit, of course, I mean, unless you guys have been living under a rock, Alex Ovechkin broke the NHL's goal record.
We
It was
did.
pretty much like right after our last episode, I think. So we just barely missed it last time. So wanted to at least touch on that a little bit in this one. Aaron, I'll turn the floor over to you. With this question, kind of just like how what kind of impact we've seen in the hobby, and I mean, obviously it's just a huge story in its own right on the ice, but as far as off the ice in the hobby, what are some things that you've noticed in the in the lead up to him breaking the record, and then once he actually did it?
It's a good question. I mean, similarly to a lot of milestones out there, it gets a lot of attention in the the hockey world, but this is obviously just next level. Just the sporting world itself just kind of rallies around milestones like this. So just amazing. We see it on the ice, with certain celebrations and things like that, but we also see it off the ice. And of course, with us, it's all about the cards, right? So yeah, there's been some monumental sales of cards, of course, and I think we'll touch on one, shortly. But just the amount of people posting and sharing Ovechkin cards has been increased, both in hey, I have these cards for sale, but also just people digging these cards out of the woodwork, out of their closets or their old collections, and just seeing what they have. And it's quite incredible what cards I remember when they were first released, along with the Crosby cards. And you know I'll be honest, they kind of were overshadowed by the Crosby cards and everything like that, but seeing these cards kind of resurface me, like, man, who would have guessed that these cards would be kind of what they are today. So it's just been amazing. So yeah, a lot more attention to Ovechkin, and I think credit to where credit is due. He's the world's greatest goal scorer, and it definitely shows in the amount of attention he's getting off the ice, especially in the hobby. So it's really good to see. And hey, good for him.
Yeah, it was definitely really fun just to watch the lead up to it. I mean, especially earlier this year when he had the leg fractures, kind of like, oh man, like maybe he's not going to do it this year. We might have to wait until next season. And then he just caught fire. After Four Nations, he was unstoppable up until the end of the season. So, yeah, just really cool to just see, that record go down, and how he did it. And of course, the record setting goal, kind of being a classic Ovechkin, power play goal on the wing, all that. Just a really cool and fitting way to do it. And, one thing that is easy to overlook, but definitely kudos to the Islanders organization and how classy they were, and, giving him the spotlight on that day, even though it was at their expense, recognizing that it's bigger than just, today in this moment. That was a moment that transcends, the sport as a whole. So, job well done on them to honor him in that way as well. So, yeah, but like you're saying, in the hobby, there's been quite a few, very impressive sales of big cards since then. One of which I just came across yesterday. I don't know if the sale finished. I think it finished this weekend on Sotheby's, actually, which is not a super well-known platform for cards necessarily, especially for hockey cards. They're more memorabilia based, but there was a 2005-06 The Cup gold rookie patch auto out of 8 of Ovechkin, which is certainly like one of the holy grail Ovechkin cards.
Iconic.
Yeah, just a massive card for sure. I think a lot of people would say short of one of ones, that might be like the Ovechkin card to
Oh
have.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Just because of how limited it is. Obviously, Crosby has one as well, but it's numbered out of 87, so it's not quite as limited in that regard. So I think a lot of people probably prefer the true rookie of Crosby out of 99. Whereas for Ovechkin, it makes sense that the gold out of 8 would be a lot more desirable than the 99. So anyway, that's the card that sold, and it sold for a whopping $381,000 US, which is very
No,
impressive.
that's insane.
Yeah.
That's like, I couldn't even fathom paying that much for a card. But hey, you know what? Some people have deep pockets, and I mean, crazy. I mean, crazy. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, worth every penny, I guess. I mean, it's only worth what someone's willing to pay, and with the goal record and everything like that, it's like Eric was saying, it's not a one of one, but it may as well be. I've seen a couple floating around over the years, and there's not much. Let's just say that.
Yeah, they certainly do not come up very often. That is for sure. So, yeah, really, really cool to see a huge card like that come up for sale at this time and see, what that price was. Obviously, we don't feature, or focus on values and prices too much, as you guys know. But when you have something like that, it is fun to just be like, yeah, like that is a really amazing sale. And there's not too many hockey cards that have sold for more money than that. I'm not sure where specifically it ranks, but I feel like that's got to be like a top 10 sale.
Oh
ever,
yeah, probably top 10, easy.
Sure, it's not a Gretzky PSA 10 rookie card, but
for modern cards, it's unreal.
It's right up there for sure. So
yeah,
definitely really cool there. So kind of to wrap up the Ovechkin conversation, I figured I would show off a few of my favorite Ovechkin cards that I have. Let's see here, get these pulled up. I'll start off with one that I've actually had for a very long time. I don't remember specifically when I got this card, but it's definitely kind of like probably the first like really nice, at least memorabilia card that I ever owned of Ovechkin. It's from 2006-07 in the game International Ice, and it is. Let me get rid of.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Overlay there.
I love the 3-color.
Yeah, and what's really cool, you can't really see it, but kind of down in this area where the blue and white meet is a really big seam.
Oh yeah,
stitching kind of at the bottom down there. I don't know. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, you can see it at the bottom there. That's really cool. Plus with the Eastern stick piece there. Yeah. You can kind of see where it jumps up a bit.
It's a very old scan that was not done with my my new one. It's a much better quality. But anyway, you get the idea. And what's really cool too is since it's an 06-07 product, and I want to say that product came out like early or middle of the season, kind of. So anyway,
like
point being, that's a rookie year Capitals jersey. And then Ovechkin, I think I don't think he ever used Easton sticks in the NHL. So I'm pretty sure that's a pre-NHL game use stick, which also very cool.
That's really cool. That is nice.
Just a really cool card that has two really nice memorabilia pieces. I know back when they won the cup, I had kind of tried selling that card, but never worked it out. And honestly, I'm really glad I didn't, because it's just such a really, really cool and nice card. So
it is a great card. You don't see that very often. The old International Ice stuff kind of pop up. It's usually the latest and greatest. But for Ovechkin, especially, I love international cards, and it's a really, really cool card.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the first one. Not the most valuable or popular, whatever you want to say, but a very cool and nice card nonetheless. So that's the first one. Next one, I've had a few cheaper rookie cards over the years. I used to have an Artifacts rookie that I traded many moons ago, probably back like 2007 or 2008 or something like that. Don't even remember what I got for it. And long story short is, you guys might remember when I got this card last year, I really wanted to have a nice Ovechkin rookie card in my collection again. So I was able to pick up one of the 05-06 Trilogy rookies numbered out of 999. As you guys see, PSA 8, which is pretty standard for these cards. They were fairly condition sensitive with the edges, because the whole front of the card is a rainbow foil board. So just kind of a delicate product, but just stunning cards. And the scan of this does it zero justice at all. These are really cards that you just have to hold in hand to really get that full foil board effect and really appreciate them. So, if you guys don't have any of the rookie cards from that 0506 set, there are tons of great rookies in the set. Big names beyond just Crosby and Ovechkin. There's Lundqvist and Duncan Keith and Zach Parise and all of the guys in that crop. And a lot of them you can get them pretty affordably. You can get those bigger name guys for even $5 or $10. So do yourself a favor and pick up a card from that set, because they are just stunning cards in person. So but definitely glad to have picked up a nice Ovechkin rookie for the collection, especially now. This card is worth, I think, probably at least twice what I got it for only like a year and a half ago. So definitely one of those where the timing worked out really nicely. So there's that one. And then kind of getting into the top three, I guess, if you want to say. The first one, I've had a few different Ovechkin autograph cards over the years, and this is the one that I've had for the longest amount of time. I'm not glued to it. I'd probably like to go for a different year from this set, but this being one of the Cup Enshrinements autograph cards numbered out of 50.
Oh, yeah.
I tend to prefer the kind of the more white, heavy acetate finish versions of the enshrinements, whereas this is one of
these ones.
The darker silver foil. So it's all.
It kind of looks like a Stanley Cup like finish almost.
That's true.
Like I'm just kind of connecting the dots now. Like it looks like
that's true.
Like almost like a finish of a Stanley Cup, which is cool. If it makes you like it a bit better.
That is true. That's a good point.
It's cool.
And one thing I do really love about this card is just that big, bold autograph. Not all years of enshrinements are that way. 12-13 is my favorite year of enshrinements, which actually is kind of one of the silver foil as opposed to the white acetates. But that design was just so stunning. But unfortunately, the only thing with that is there was a fairly small autograph spot, and Ovechkin really stuck to that autograph spot. So his autographs on those cards are just very small, and you're not able to get kind of that larger, more elegant version of his signature like this one here has. So, in my mind, pros and cons to the design from this specific year, but having that big bold autograph is certainly a very big plus for sure. So, certainly not in any hurry to move it, but if the right deal comes along and, there's something I like better, then maybe one day I'll move on from it. But, in the time being, obviously hard to go wrong with an Ovechkin autograph from the Cup. So there's that. And then we'll finish off with two, I guess technically three, memorabilia cards. The first ones you guys are familiar with if you've been around for a little while, from Leaf Art of Hockey, the Museum of Materials cards that are the matching halves of a game worn jersey tag.
I like it.
So
that's amazing. Proves that good cards, sometimes they don't need to be licensed. If the memorabilia is top notch, I mean, honestly, in some cases, it doesn't really matter. It's a great card.
Speaks for itself. So I got the one on the right at the National back in 2023. And then was talking with Josh Packham, about the cards, and we were like, oh, it'd be interesting, probably, the other half of the tag surely is in one of these cards. It'd be cool if you could find it. And did some digging. It had sold previously on eBay. I was able to talk the seller into sharing the contact info from the buyer, and then we were able to work out a deal. So, just both of them kind of spontaneous in that way of, these aren't normally things I would chase down, but you see a card like that at a show and it's just like, that's a really cool card, got to have it. And then being able to find the other half and reunite them, so to speak, is a really, really cool tandem to have in the collection for sure. So very cool there. And then what I would say is certainly my favorite Ovechkin card, just because it's such an iconic piece of memorabilia, is from President's Choice, one of the Lace 'em Up cards of Ovechkin using those iconic yellow skate laces.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen any yellow skate laces, even in the store, I think it might be just me, but I think you just think of Ovechkin. So I mean, to get a pair of his, laces there, game worn, obviously is amazing. I love the design of the card, and I mean the laces themselves just pop. So it's something that if you were kind of looking through a display case or something, and you saw those, they would definitely stop you in your tracks, because it's not often you see that stuff. One with skate laces, and two obviously with Ovechkin's classic bright skate laces there. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I was definitely fortunate to get this card. This is part of the President's Choice game used product. I know we talked about that with Dr. Price way back in the day, toward the start of the podcast. I believe that set started coming out, I want to say in like the fall of 2020, like late 2020. And then what he would do is he would take one or two insert sets from the product and put them on his site, every week or two. And, it was I want to say it was like Friday at 10 a.m. or something.
Yeah, I think it was originally supposed to be like a box set, but then he switched it so that, I'm going to do like a weekly release or something like that. Yeah, like 10 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah, so it's kind of unique in that way. Definitely a result of COVID and manufacturing difficulties with being able to print boxes and get the plastic boxes and stuff. So, kind of interesting in that regard. But as a result, there were tons of people waiting for all of these cards to come out every week. And of course, these lace 'em up cards were and are very popular. So I remember logging in and going on the site and seeing this card and just saying, I'm not even going to think twice about it. That's an awesome card. I'm buying one. And he was a short print in the set, numbered out of 3. So there's only 3 of these out there, and they sold out, I want to say, in like 2 minutes or something. So I'm very glad that I pulled the trigger immediately, because if I had even given it, a minute or two of thought, they would have been gone. So very glad that I did that. It was definitely a spontaneous thing, but they were priced very reasonably. I want to say they were like $80 US, which is a steal.
Something like that. Yeah.
So, but like I said, they sold out immediately. And I know in the time since, maybe like within the last year or so, I know our buddy Josh Packham was able to pick up one of the other 2 cards. And Josh, you're here and you're saying Lace 'em Up is sweet. Yes, it is.
They are sweet.
You're right. And I know that you enjoy your copy of this card that you're able to track down. And I'm glad you were able to. I always kind of felt guilty because I knew you wanted my card or a copy of this card. And I was like, I love this card so much. I can't let it go. So I'm glad that you were able to track one down eventually. So, but that's definitely my favorite Ovechkin card. Just a really nicely designed card. And obviously those laces just speak for themselves. So, we'll leave it at that. And again, congrats to Ovi. Obviously, an amazing accomplishment. And obviously, we've seen the impacts of that in the hobby, and it's just been really fun to see. So, just wanted to be sure we touched on that, since, like I said, we missed out on talking about it. I think just by a few days last time. So, and then the last thing for the show tonight. Is kind of something that's kind of came unexpected almost. I didn't really know about it ahead of time, kind of just popped up out of nowhere. 24-25 Fanatics Emanate, which is, if you guys are not familiar with, they're kind of cards, but they're really not. They're signed 8x10 photos, but they
look like cards. They look like cards.
They come in these essentially giant one-touches. And they're very nicely done card.
Hard signed, too.
There you go. I said cards.
Yeah, they're cards. I would classify them as cards.
Yeah. Don't tell Upper Deck that. But,
no, that's how they got around the license, by making them photos. Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, to me, it's not something that was on my radar at all. And just started seeing them pop up and was like, what are these? And I think you were kind of the same way, Aaron. And
I heard about them. Yeah, I heard about them a little while ago, and then just seeing them pop up was like, like that thing I saw a while ago is now out. And then seeing some of the cards and seeing what people hit and stuff like that. So it's interesting.
Yeah, so I know when they first kind of came out and we were talking about it back and forth, and you said we got to talk about this. It's just very interesting and a unique thing, and they've been super well received. And so yeah, I kind of again, I'll let you kind of take the floor and talk more about them if you want, since it's kind of your topic, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, they're just they're what we said they were. They're not cards, but they're cards, and I just love the idea of it. It's kind of their way, for Fanatics to kind of push their way in the card space a little bit. For the past couple of years, cards have been very, very popular, and so I guess they wanted to capitalize on that. So the checklist is pretty good, I would say. Like obviously with any release, you're going to get your good hits and your not as good hits, but overall the cards look great. All hard signed, like I mentioned, and they even have parallels, which is very, very card like, including one of ones as well. So there's some really good triple autos and stuff like that as well. So the checklist is very interesting, and I would definitely encourage you to look that up. It might not be your thing, but at least maybe for the checklist, give it a look and see if there's anyone that catches your eye, and maybe pick up a card or two. I think it would be an interesting piece for your card collection. There, I said it, card collection. So anyway,
yeah, it is cool. I know the single signed photo cards, 8x10s, whatever we're going to call them. There's 75 guys on the checklist, and you'll have, there are huge names. I mean, Ovechkin's in it. I think Austin Matthews is in it. Fleury's in it. Connor Bedard is in it. There's a lot of huge names in the set. All 32 teams are represented. Some have bigger names than others. But you also have, I mean, most of them I would say are pretty quality names. Like,
I think so.
There's
a pretty good
few,
balanced checklist.
There's a few where you're like, why is that? Like, the one that really stood out to me is Morgan Geekie for the Bruins. It's like, okay, why is it not McAvoy, Swayman, Pasternak? Like,
maybe just they needed to fill out a name, and those guys have already signed a lot of stuff.
Who knows?
And they're like, okay.
But for the most part, it's top guys on all the teams. So, in general, it is a pretty strong checklist, and the base cards are numbered out of 50. So even
pretty limited.
If you just get a basic one, it's numbered out of 50. And then, like you said, Aaron, there are parallels that I want to say are. I'm trying to think. I think 10, 5, and 1 of 1. I can't remember if there's a 25 or not.
I think there might be, but yeah, it's a pretty limited product overall. And I tried to look it up a little bit more, and every kind of listing you see, it's all sold out. So I didn't look too hard. I'm sure you can find some, but if you're interested at all in this product, it's pretty limited. So if you find some, maybe take a chance on it. Chances are you won't see too much again once they're all open. So or you can always buy singles and stuff like that. It's always fun.
Yeah. So then there are multi-signed, there's duals, and there's triples. I can't remember exactly. I think there's around 15 multi-signed cards, and those are tougher. I think the base versions are out of 10, and then there's parallels, I think, out of 5 and 1 of 1s. Most notably, there's a triple autograph of Connor Bedard, Austin Matthews, and Alex Ovechkin. So, I mean, that's a pretty darn solid card to get, right?
It's amazing. I've seen one before, and it's like, after someone hit it, and I was like, whatever side of the fence you fall on for this, yes, I know it's Fanatics, which some people don't care for too much, but I'm like, that's a good piece right there. You can't argue that. So yeah, I'm just looking up the odds here. So you have a gold out of 50. You do have an out of 25. That's the orange. You have blue out of 10, red out of 5, and of course the 1 of 1 there. So pretty cool. And the multi-signed are 10, 5, and 1. So yeah, very limited and pretty cool. So yeah, amazing. Pretty cool.
Yeah, just and I know we first started talking about it, I want to say like 3 or 4 days after they came out.
Yeah, something like that.
We started talking about it, and I was like, oh, like I'm just gonna look this up. Like you had found I think the web page that had the checklist, so I went and found that, and it was just like on the Fanatics website, and they were sold out. So it's like
that's where I'm looking now.
3 or 4 days sold out. So I mean, that tells you how well received this product has been. People, I think, very quickly realizing these look really nice. They're very limited. They have, big names in it. And I want to say the retail price on them was $130 US, which, that's a lot for one thing, but at the same time, it's a really nice looking collectible piece that there are a lot of huge names in the product. So I would say it's worth the price of admission. Um, as you said, you can find them on the secondary market after the fact. Prices, I was
I'm
looking
looking
up,
now.
they've been selling for 250, 300
Yeah,
US
they're
per box. So they're tough to get your hands on at this point, but um, like I said, that just speaks to the fact that people have really enjoyed this. And I know, kind of doing some looking around myself, this is a product that they have done for other sports too. This isn't just a new thing that they thought of for hockey. I know there's been, a baseball one, and I think they've done other sports as well. So, kind of just bringing that idea over to the NHL and taking
Mhm.
advantage of the fact that they do have a license for other types of memorabilia and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I think they did a really nice job with it, and it's been fun to just see something that's honestly a little bit different, than we're used to seeing every day. And the fact that people have enjoyed it and it's been well received is really cool. So um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree. I mean, just looking at some of these prices, and we'll let you guys go soon. But like, yeah, Tom Wilson out of 5, just sold here for a touch over 300 Canadian. So I mean, autographs you might not see too much of. Limited stuff. It might be for you. So who knows? Again, we don't get paid to say this stuff. I wish we did, but it's really cool, and that's what we feel. So yeah, the UC Saros there out of 10 I'm seeing, so not bad. It would look pretty cool on your desk. So I think we'll wrap it up there, but it's something cool, and we just want to talk about it.
yeah, indeed. The only thing I'll disagree with is wrapping it up there,
Okay,
because
all right.
because rather than wrapping it up, let's unwrap it up,
Oh, here we
because
go.
your boy was able to get one.
Ooh, okay. Did not
Yes,
expect this. Did not
yes.
expect this, especially after all that sold out talk we did. So honestly, I'm thinking one of one.
We'll
That's what I'm
see.
thinking.
We'll see. So, kind of the hack, so to speak, with these is you can still buy these through GameStop, actually.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
the great thing about how they're doing it is they are limiting people to only buying one or two. So you can't
Oh,
just
that's
like
cool.
clear them
I
out.
like that. Yeah.
So it gives you a chance to still get them at the original retail price. So I was kind of, when we were first talking about it that night a few weeks ago, I was digging around and was able, came across the GameStop listing, and I was like, you know what, like these look great. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. Like, and
Hmm.
I was like, these are sold out everywhere. Maybe they just didn't take the listing off their website. Maybe I'll get a
Who
refund
knows?
tomorrow. Who knows? So that's why I didn't say anything at first. And then, I get the shipping notification and the tracking, and then it comes a few
And then
days
it finally
later. And
arrives. Exactly.
yeah, so
Then you know.
yeah,
All
so
right. Okay. Okay.
off comes the
I would consider
cellophane.
these cards. Eric, do you consider this a card?
I would say so. It's kind of like an oddball type of thing, I would say. I mean, it
It
is, but
is.
it's not,
I
you
mean,
know.
cards have done, blown out versions, the 8x10 version of things. So I would
Yeah.
consider it a card. I know it's not traditional, but,
Yeah, and if
pretty
you
cool.
guys haven't, watched any breaks of this or anything, I know there are some breaks on YouTube of these. They come in this really nice. The packaging is phenomenal. Big kudos to Fanatics on that. And honestly, I'm trying to be really careful with it. But they come in these like almost like portfolios almost.
Yeah.
So it's just a very nicely done thing. And yeah, I'm trying to not just actually rip off the paper. I
Yeah,
kind of
no, you
want
got
to
to
try
keep
to
that.
save it, but it's very tight on here, so I don't know if I'll actually be able to accomplish that or not. I might have to go ahead and
Just
slice it
very
off.
slowly there.
Yeah, might have to just slice it off here, but
That's all right. As long as you keep the casing. And it comes in a
yeah,
one
for
touch
sure.
anyway, so
It does. Yeah.
you're good.
So, all right, trying to get into her here without doing too much damage. But yeah, the portfolios that these come in are just very nice. I'm sure honestly just the packaging of this probably cost them at least a few dollars to produce. So yeah, kudos to Fanatics. All right, so we've got the outer cardboard sleeve off, and the back kind of gives you an idea a little bit more of what to expect there as well. So
I'm hoping for a Bedard.
I would love
See
that.
there on the back.
Yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm telling myself it's gonna be Morgan Geeky, and anything above that is
And
great.
you know what? It makes for a
but
good display piece on that on that shelf back there,
yeah, so
especially if it's someone notable. Oh yeah,
there you
nice.
go.
That's
Got
really cool.
the little
All right.
thing there, and it's a
That is
very
nice.
quick break. Obviously, once you open it up, you know your fate. So let's see how we do here. I'm not sure how to do this. It's so big,
It is big. You can,
but
I mean, if you want to reveal it, you can, but you can take it and look at it yourself first if you
might be
want.
easier that way. All right, here we go. That's
No way.
hilarious. I think we need to bring back a certain someone from California.
Oh, okay, I figured so because I was looking at the listings and I thought,
There's
what if you
just
hit this guy? Like,
there's
what
just
if?
no way. There's
Okay,
literally
no,
no
I think
way.
there's a way. Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. Look at that. That's amazing. That is amazing. What's the numbering on the blue ones? Is it
That's a good
25?
question. I believe
Is
that's
it
out of
25?
10. I think the
Okay,
blue are out of
10.
10.
Because I did
pull it
see
out
a
here.
blue. Let's see.
That is hilarious. I
That
was
is
thinking
amazing.
the whole time, I was like, what if I got a flurry?
Yeah.
So, yep, it is a blue numbered
Oh,
6 out of 10.
that's cool. Yeah. I see a wild one here that sold for over 800 Canadian, which is insane. Let's see.
Awesome.
Yeah, like I see a couple other flurries here. The out of 25s, one sold for 340 Canadian, 240 Canadian, 240 on others. So yeah, they're selling pretty consistently. The mid twos for the 25s. So yeah,
Sweet.
amazing. So an out of 10 is just next level. So I think you got it. I mean that is just like amazing. So that better be on that display case next show for sure.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
like,
You got to send a picture to Matt right after the show,
yeah.
and myself too. Or if you can scan it or something. I'm not sure how
I think
big the
it
scan bed is.
should.
It should be
We'll see.
okay, but
Yeah, but they're beautiful. The whole
yeah,
photo
yeah.
is a foil board. I don't know if you guys can
Oh,
see.
if you put it in the light,
Yeah,
you
it's a
can
little
see it
tough.
a
It's
little
getting
bit.
dark out. But
Yeah, you can see that like that chromy finish.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. But you can kind of see it now in the light. So I'm sure with a good scan or a good picture, you can, especially with some natural light or something, you could showcase it well. But that is amazing. So, I mean, I guess we'll leave it at that. That's probably the best way to kind of end things. I mean, back-to-back episodes with flurry hits, and it's a reoccurring theme of the podcast. Not bad.
Yeah. Literally though, like I was saying, like it would just be hilarious to get a
Oh
flurry.
yeah, same.
I don't want to get my
that.
hopes up, but
I didn't want to say it, but as soon as I saw, a couple of these listings here before you broke it open, I was like, what if, But I saw a couple of them, so I'm like, okay, they're probably already gone, but clearly not. Amazing. Well done.
yeah. So that's about as fitting as it gets. I mean, I would say that's honestly more fitting than getting Bedard. So
That's true.
Yeah, you guys can say, oh, it's rigged, it's scripted, whatever.
Definitely
Totally,
not.
like I only bought one. Like that's what I got. It's hilarious. That's how it worked out. Yeah, like obviously, is it the best card in the product? No, but I will certainly take that. I'm thrilled with that.
Out of 10 can't go wrong.
Very,
Perfect.
very glad that I decided to very spontaneously buy it. So.
I didn't think you were going to get one, but the fact that you did and found one is another level. And then the fact you hit a flurry it's amazing. So congrats on that. I'm sure you'll be sending a photo to Matt very soon.
Yeah. I don't even know if he knew. I don't think he knew we were going to open it. I told him we were going to talk about it, but yeah, I don't think he knew that that I had one to open. So yeah, he'll be surprised by that for sure. But
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, not much more you can say. That's
and there you go. And there
hilarious, amazing, awesome. Couldn't be happier. That went very well. So
it's a great nightcap there to finish it off.
Absolutely, great way to finish the show for sure.
And go Leafs, go.
We are on a big hot streak with polls of late and Fleury specifically. So we'll see. We may or may not have a break next episode. That's a decent product. So
we'll see.
We'll see if we can continue the luck. But of course, the main topic for the next episode is going to be your Expo recap. So
That's right, coming up this weekend.
always.
So that'll be cool. I don't expect to find much, but it's always cool to walk around and kind of see, the landscape. So yeah, stay tuned for the quick little recap episode and whatever else we have next. So
yeah, absolutely. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, and again, thanks to Matt for his time and sharing about what he's got going on at Upper Deck is really, really fun to hear, and just see the success that he's having. So yeah, again, shout out to him, and appreciate his time and insight. And we will officially now wrap it up and leave it at that. But as always, please be sure to follow us on social media. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Sunrise Cardcast, and on Twitter at Sunrise CC. Please also be sure to subscribe to the show on your podcast platform of choice to make sure you never miss a future episode. Until next time on Sunrise Cardcast, keep collecting those hockey cards.